I think I have just found what I consider to be the hidden gem of what I consider to be one of the most hidden gems of anime to come out this year, and that is Ruby Rocks. Yes, going to be talking about this bad boy today, or these minerals today, because man, this has been an amazing and unique anime experience that is worth talking about. And yes, I understand that there's only two more episodes left as of me recording this video, but I think given where it's heading right now, given the direction, given the momentum of where the show has started and where it's going, I think my mind's set in stone, legitimately speaking, and I might as well talk about this show because it's amazing, it's incredible, and I want to talk about it more or less to get my thoughts and feelings out of the way. So, once again, Ruby Rocks. This is an anime to come out of the summer 2025 season by the good folks of Studio Bind Studios, a studio that I think should need no introduction at this point, considering that their main claim to fame as of right now has always been the Bishoku Tensei Isekai series, with the fact that we got a third season coming up that's been announced coming around the corner. It's no surprise that this show has been crushing it since its first debut back in 2021 and slapping a lot of the generic isekais to shame. But of course, Studio Bind would also dive into other different angles of their anime and flexing on what they are as a studio. Again, their first instance of this was a couple years back when they did Oni-chan wa Oshimai or Onimai, I'm Now Your Sister, a show that came out back in 2023, which was their first attempt of like a slice of life anime with a little bit of a twist in the mix. And again, while I understand that this show can be a bit polarizing and is a little bit divisive to say the least, this show was Studio Bind's first attempt at making a slice of life comedy anime. And I think they hit the ballpark really well here. Again, there are some moments that might rub people the wrong way given like what the premise of the show is all about. But still, this is a show I would highly recommend if you love Studio Bind and if you love the slice of life genre as it is. Because man, I never thought we'd get a sequel to Only Mine, given how good they did with this one. And that is really rocks, man. This show is the definition of a hidden gem. The show is incredible from start to where I'm at as I'm me recording this video. So again, Rui Rocks, what is it all about simply? Well, the synopsis more or less gives it away, more or less, where it's a story about Rui, a girl who likes jewelry and accessories, and is diving into the world of mineralogy after coming across the fact that, hey, there's a rock that's super cool and unique, and I want to check it out, more or less. And Rui is essentially that super uplifting character that's curious but wants to learn and really is determined to learn things about rocks and everything alike. And throughout the first episode, we get to meet Nagisa or Nagi Arato, who is a college student and is someone who is studying minerals, believe it or not. And throughout this first encounter, we see that Rui takes interest to what Nagi has to offer, and essentially they now go on trips and trials to like discover rocks, talk about rocks, do different types of rock sorting techniques and discovery techniques. And I gotta say, like one of the things I want to say before I go diving deep to the other characters in the show, this show does such an amazing job just making you invested, making you want to learn about rocks. And trust me, I'm not a rock enthusiast. I don't know shit about rocks. I mean, I will say this right here, right now. I do have rocks of my own, as you can see, even like this bad boy here. But I don't know shit about rocks. I collect rocks because they're pretty much cool as hell. But the fact that again, I know that this profession exists. I've been to college. I know that this stuff exists. There are that this show really encapsulates how much dedication, how much effort, and how much detail is put when it comes to finding these rocks. What the process of doing this is, and it even like gives you a little bit like some like mineralogy 101 lessons of like how certain rocks are formed, like sapphire or gold or ruby, for instance, or other types of rocks they portray in the show, and it showcases like how hard it is to find these rocks. Case in point, like every time Nagi and Rui go on a trip to find a rock because of Rui discovers something that's really interesting, unique, she gets like glitter in her eyes to where she's like, "Oh my god, I want to do this! I want to find something! I want to be invested in this!" And there's a ton of examples from each of these episodes that I could talk about, from the amount of times that Rui finds gold, from the amount of times that she finds sapphire or glass on the beach, or like how beneficial it is to make sure that the lakes are nice, crystal clear and clean if they want to like discover the history of how the land or this place called Earth was formed in the first place. And they do such a good job explaining that. And going into the other characters from Yoko Imari, who at one point, I'm not gonna lie when I say this, I thought she was gonna be the weakest character of the show, but these recent episodes, especially today's episode, has really like I'm really glad that they're actually taking this huge risk where they put Nagi on the side because Nagi was like the main character up until episode 8 and you see her throughout every episode. And today's episode and last week's episode really was focused on Yoko Mars character, and my god, she is the sweetest fucking thing ever. Like she really cares about rocks, and she could be coming off as like the nerdy type when it comes to rocks, but you could tell her passion to wanting to know rocks and study about them and the history is well written within her character, and I love that about her. It's absolutely phenomenal. And finally, we go into Shoko Seto, a character that was introduced like I think halfway into the show, and her background is about unfortunately pretty sad in a way where she was someone that was always interested about rocks growing up, but her parents and the friends that she was hanging out with at one point or another were like, "Why are you talking about rocks? Why are you giving a shit about rocks? Don't do that. Go read a book. Go play sports, do all these other activities. Like, why are you caring about rocks? Rocks is just rocks at the end of the day." And this was a sentiment that was carried over her up until high school, to the point where she then come across Yoko Imari, who plays a pretty big role in lighting that spark again of interest to where she wants to study about rocks and talk about rocks again. And together, once all four of our main characters get to know each other, you come across a really good show that really has a really good, like, well put thought into every character that of what they're talking about. Like every character was taken care of so well in the show that the investment of like going to this show is absolutely incredible. It's amazing. Again, I can't really sing praises enough about the show. The animation is absolutely crisp, clean, perfect, and the fact that this is taking place between high schoolers and college students is saying enough, more or less. And it's funny that like with each time that one of these girls discover a rock or discover a new location, it inspires them to do something bigger and better and discover something that's even more interesting and more fascinating. And I absolutely love that about this show. Like it just keeps you not only like not only does it keep you from guessing what the next journey with our main character is going to be about, but it just simultaneously makes you want to watch more of this show. And I know that with me talking about this pretty early on, like it is a little bit hard to tell like how the rest of the show is going to pan out from here on out. But as of right now, man, like this show is absolutely incredible. Like I don't know how I can say this, but the art style of this show also reminds me a little bit of callback to like Girls Last Tour in this weird sort of way, or like maybe Lucky Star esque type of way. But overall, this show is absolutely 100% a must watch. It is the literal definition of a hidden gem of an anime that I think that for me that may not be interested in rocks or mineralogy, I think you're getting a lot of bang for your buck for the show because the show is just so beautiful, so captivating, and it just hooks you all the way through, at least up until the very end. So, with that, I'm definitely gonna 100% finish the show. Right now, call me recency bias all you want, but I'm giving this bad boy a light 8. It is ridiculously good, and it's undoubtedly going to be one of the most underrated shows to be talked about from this year. And yeah, just want to talk about Ruri Rocks because this show is undoubtedly the hidden gem of the year. So yeah, I just want to talk about this a little bit. That's it. See you on the next one. Later.